Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Online Racing League ORL for round number 4 of the season here at Azerbaijan in Baku, our first street circuit of the season. My name is Joshua Davis. Alongside me once again is Joanna Brito. Joanna, how you doing, my friend?
Hi Joshua, hi everyone. Welcome to another round of the Online Racing League. This time we will be going to Baku, which I'm a bit partial to city circuits, so it should be very interesting to see what our drivers can give us tonight.
Absolutely. So probably one of the quickest street circuits on the whole F1 calendar. Very, very quick. The longest straight as well in the F1 calendar. Much, much bigger than China last week. And what an absolutely incredible race it was. Just a heads up on our Drivers and Constructors Championship. We have a new leader at the top of the table. Ismail Fassi with a brilliant win last time out. Gets 5 points on Danny Beresne, who is not racing again tonight, just focusing on his F1 esports duties. Obviously, the last few rounds coming up very, very soon for him and the Alfa Romeo team. Channing Hinchey moves up to P3 as well. Bentama Konyi P4 with Leveche up into P5 after a really, really good race from him as well. Yannick Schmidt in P6. Isvan Puki is P7. Jan Haladej is 8th for Christoph Seller in P9. And Lilian de Brevcourt picks up the top 10. Moving into the constructors' standings, it's still Alfa Romeo, very, very dominant so far by about 30-odd points, 20-odd points to Mercedes in second place, 80 place, 57. Alpine up the rear by about 2 points behind Mercedes. They had a really, really good race last time out as well, picking up P3 and P5 with Shan Ekinci and Christoph Seller. Red Bull in P4 with Ferrari P5, McLaren P6, tied on points with Aston Martin in P7, Williams P8, AlphaTauri in P9, and Haas with the only 1 point so far in P10. But with the grid they have today, they definitely can do a lot better than that and can definitely get some good points on the board. However, we are ready to go for qualifying. Qualifying 1, of course, tonight. As you can see, 3 qualifying sessions as usual. One that is 18 minutes. The second is 15. And the third is a 12 minutes shootout for pole position. And already a few drivers all ready to go out on the intermediate compound tyres as usual to see a few of the Alpha Tauris. I think I was coming out. Jan Haladej also one of them for McLaren. Had a really, really good race last time around. So obviously really, really close with that pack in that top 7 as well. Definitely one to look out for. Nelson Alves as well, the new Shazoo driver, of course. Joanna, you know a little bit more about him than I do as well. Stefano Ramazio was up there as well in the top 10 once again last time around. Gregorio Belatti makes his return as well. Tony Richet as well, driving for Ferrari in P4 tonight. Definitely wants to look out for. Very, very quick driver. Can definitely put it on with the F1 Esports boys as well. So definitely look out for him alongside Samuel Bean, Shannon Hinchey, Isvan Puki, all of those guys. But yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting one. But Jan Haladej, first one out of the box. Everyone on the intermediate compound tyres. But it should be a very, very interesting one, Joanna.
Yeah, we have quite a few reserves joining us tonight with Tony Richet, Nelson Alves, Jacopo Grillo, although Jacopo has raced quite a few races already with us. And then Modesto Mena, a familiar name in ORL as well, and Javier Fernandez also as a reserve tonight. Of course, as you mentioned, I know Nelson Alves quite well. He was until last weekend the national champion for F1 in the computer. We've had the PS platform champion already racing with us in Miami, but now we have the computer one. So quite, he's a young boy. He's still a boy, if I can say that. So I'm quite curious to see where he can reach in the long time. But for now, what he can show us tonight. He's been racing these last couple of months at a very high level and in keeping the improvement that he showed at the end of F1 21. So it will be interesting to see where he stands, even if this is a bit of a specific track. As I mentioned, city tracks are always slightly different with less margin for mistakes, but then again, at this level, that's exactly what we want.
Absolutely. So very, very tight to the barriers all the way through. Really can only go too wide down the straight, and you're really asking for trouble there. But Nelson Alves, national champion for Portugal, as you mentioned, definitely can bring something to the table. I've looked at his Twitter as well, going through a few of his hot laps that he has posted. He is absolutely rapid fast, absolutely indeed. So it'll be very, very interesting what he has to bring for the table. He's partnering his teammate Jan Haladej, who we are watching right now on an intermediate run at the moment in time, hopping through that left-hander. Interesting if you can cut it or not this game. There has been games in the past where you can cut it and you won't get sent into the wall, but a few times I've done it myself. I've ended up smacking a wall and losing a tyre, so maybe these guys have a little bit more experience than I do about taking those corners, but I'm sure once they get to the big boy tyres with the soft compounds and the medium compound tyres like Ismail Fassi is on at the moment, they can definitely get those times right down and start attacking those corners a little bit more. Jan Haladej will be the first one to cross the line as a 1:44.004. His teammate of Nelson Alves just come into the pit lane, did not decide to go for a lap on the intermediate. So we're right on board with the championship leader, Ismail Fassi, going into Azerbaijan. 6 rounds left to go this season, and definitely trying to extend his championship advantage to about 30, maybe 31 after this one. Samuel Bean jumps up there to a 1:43.788. We're into the 43s with Lillian just slipping in, only about a couple of thousandths off Jan Haladej. Yannick Schmidt back again for the Red Bull team. Got that podium in Miami as well. Really, really good performance from him. 43.744, just tops Samuel Bean by about 44 thousandths of a second. This should be Ismail Fassi's quickest time if he decides to keep it, but he's going to dive back into the pits and he's going to try and bolt on another sauce. And
He had invalidated this attempt, so it was really just to check out the track. Regarding that curve, I'm not sure if this is one of those, let's put it in 60 FPS or not. So it will be interesting to see which line our drivers take. If it was me, I was sure as hell wouldn't go there. But let's see what our drivers there at another level, of course, what they will do. While we have Gregory Balati on the first attempt on the soft compound, I think.
Yep, Gregory Balati will take a lap around Azerbaijan with the AlphaTauri man coming back once again. And AlphaTauri's team definitely tonight look very, very menacing. Jacobo Grillo doing well in qualifying last time at China, making his debut. Gregory Balati, we know he is a very, very quick driver on his day, can definitely get up there with the big boys as well. So look forward to AlphaTauri maybe getting to the top 10 both times in qualifying. But we'll take a lap around here in towards Sector 2, Sector 1 Delta right now. 35.295 for the Frenchman as he makes his way towards the inevitable, well, the quite famous Castle section. The I'm stupid moment of Charles Leclerc back in 2019 cost him pole position. How are we taking that one with Gregory Balati? Just a little bit of a gear down, flying towards the gears into gear 4, throwing the car into the left and onto the right hand side, making his way down the back straight then and into the big braking zone on that left hand side. Madeshra Mena puts it into the low 143s of 43.494 for the Spaniard, and making very, very aware of that curve comes Gregory Balati, making aware he is not taking that one at all. A little bit of a moment there, and that is a spinner for Gregory Balati. A little bit too much in the way, a little bit too wide, and the car says absolutely not, and that is around it goes for the AlphaTauri, and a set of the soft compound tyres gone to waste there.
Yeah, unfortunately not a very good beginning of his third sector. Well, we still have drivers coming out on the intermediate compound, so I wouldn't be expecting it with 10 minutes to go to see our drivers still in the intermediates. Of course, it's not raining in the qualifying, and I've heard it's not raining in the race as well, so we'll have a full-out battle in the dry to the best of our drivers' abilities around Baku and its castle, as you mentioned. Always a very specific part, and where I'd say it's easier to make a mistake, although there isn't really a spot around here that I'd say it's not easy to make a mistake. While we have, I think it's Bence also in a flying lap on the soft compound.
Yep, Bento Bocconi on board with him now into the castle section, really attacking that one on his first run. Wants to do the one ditch and absolutely go. Only wants to do really one lap in qualifying, just so you make sure you get yourself through into qualifying 2 and save the set of the soft compound tyres for the race and, of course, for future qualifying sessions. Do you make it through? Attacking it once again towards the left-hander. This is where Belatti had that little bit of a spin out of the final corner, if you like. It's not really technically the last corner, the last braking zone on the circuit, and then it's fully flat out until the line at one. Very, very long back straight down here at Baku. Foot to the floor. DRS is right about now for Ben Sabokoni, and he will come towards the line right to the right-hand side, and across the line he will come to a 39.306, a very, very low 39. Might be a chance. We get into the 38s in a few moments. Christoph Seller also out there for Alpine alongside his teammates of Chana Kinchi, who's just started his first flying lap as well, right on board with Seller at the moment. He'll be the first one across the line for the first Alpine team. Did very, very well last time out at China. 5th place, I believe. And definitely putting Alpine on a very, very good step towards the Constructors' Championship. And also Chana Kinchi with that P3 helping himself to try and get up towards the drivers as well as he makes his way down the back straight. Comes Christoph Seller, and is there damage on that right hand? I think there is on that front right end plate, and yes, it is damage. So Christoph Seller will be abandoning that one. So has hit the wall somewhere on that lap, which is not ideal at all. And he will have to go to the drawing board for that one. So we'll flick over to his teammate of Chana Kinchi, who's making his way towards the castle section right about now, really attacking the left-hander in that beautiful white and red helmet. That glistening sort of white crystals, if you like whites. It's very, very nice indeed. Making his way towards that double left-hander, fully flat out, and then a huge braking zone downhill, which is always very, very tricky on the left-hander, and taking it very, very well has Mr. Akinci, rounding the final couple of corners now of the Baku City Circuit, and a full flat out to the line, the number 34 of the Alpine, a Turkishman, having a really, really good start to the season so far. A podium at Bahrain and a podium at China, and hopefully can try and get a podium here. He said he wanted a podium to try and kickstart his Drivers' Championship aspirations once again, staying tight towards the wall on the left-hand side, and he does just that by going 2 tenths quicker than Ben Sabakonya on a 39.147.
I've been on board with my fellow Portuguese driver, getting a better time than Ben in the first sector, quite a decent second sector, so now full throttle, quite a few drivers ahead also finishing their attempts. And we'll have already, as you mentioned, some drivers into the 39. Let's see, it's still 39, but it's 139, 133. It's P1 for now for Nelson Alves.
Absolutely so. And the youngster from Portugal puts himself on the top step of the podium so far, and currently on provisional pole position in qualifying 1, which was always very, very nice for your debut in the league, and puts himself there about a 100th of a second quicker than Chana Kinchi, and then Yannick Schmidt comes over and obliterates that one by just about half a tenth of a second. Yannick Schmidt into the low 139s with a 39.086 for the Red Bull. He is back in business for the Red Bull team once again. Ismail Fassi, championship leader, come towards the line now on his second attempt of the session. In towards the left-hander. Well, his first attempt on the soft compound tyres, second attempt overall. His first one on the intermediate compound tyres, into the final couple of corners with that red, white and blue helmet flickering on in the distance with the white visor band, and into the final couple of corners. A fast left, a fast right. Very, very easy to get it wrong if you just take a little bit too much curb or just a little bit too ambitious on your ERS deployment. You can see yourself in the barriers, a little bit of a shake on the Mercedes. He comes towards the line now. What's it going to be? Can he get into the 38s? No, he cannot, but it's so close. 39.001, and his teammate just there. That is Nadi Perez having a nasty one in the barriers into turn 1. Has completely lost his front wing. This one, Fassi, agonizingly close to the 38s there.
The yellow flag was fooling me, so because I was seeing him before turn 1, and it seemed like Bense, who is in the pits, was causing the yellow flag. So quite a confusing moment for me. While we have Tony Richet, jumping to P5 for Ferrari, reserve for today for the Scuderia, showing a good performance on his first attempt, and of course quite curious to see what Nardi will do when he actually goes for it. He's been. I think it's not the first time that he doesn't put it on his first attempt, but then he actually manages to come up under pressure. So it's not the end for the Spanish driver. Talking about Spanish drivers, we have Javier Fernandez finishing his first attempt, jumping to P14 with a 1:39.802. The Haas driver will surely want to improve this time if he can before the end of the qualifying session. Not he's through for now, but he might lose it and this last attempt, and he has less than 4 minutes to get back to the pit lane and still try to go out. So it seems a bit narrow in time, if I may say it like this. So it seems like he will not have plenty of time to try for his last attempt. Let's see if he manages.
We'll have to wait and see how long is left, as there is a yellow flag in Sector 2. But in the meantime, we'll look towards Christoph Seller, who's just finishing his first or second attempt in this qualifying session. His first actual time on the board, and it will jump him to P8, 39.286. Should see him through into qualifying 2. My guesstimation is probably going to be the low 39s is what's going to get you through into qualifying 2. Jakub Rozetsu, the Haas development driver, in P11 at the moment, driving for Williams. Probably will have to try and go again on that 39.5 dead. Is running the risk, but definitely one to maybe try and have a look at. There you go. 3 minutes left to go in the session. 2 minutes 50. Now Jacobo Grillo is out on his first soft run, leaving it extremely late on that 40.008 on the intermediate compound tire. The quickest driver on the intermediate still left running, with Oscar Villacampa still in the pit lane on that P17 lap time of 40.067. Everyone on the intermediates from 16th down still on their lap times, and Nardi Perez yet to get one done. So Jacobo Grillo will have to really start putting his foot down if he wants to try and get himself into Q2. Made it a breeze last time at China, so hopefully he can try and keep that momentum going into Baku. And you can see him there charging up his ERS with the flashing on the back of that AlphaTauri alongside the Alpine. I think is that Christoph Seller maybe. Yes, it is. Chanakinchi is in the pit lane. Top 7 pretty much going through. Ismail Fassi, Yannick Schmidt, Nelson Owens, as we've just seen there. Jan Halliday retires from the session from P7. Yannick Schmidt as well. Tony Richet in P5. They all start to retire. Nelson Owens as well in P3 retires from the session. Here comes Jacobo Grillo. He'll be the first one to set he'll be the first one across the line arrest of everyone setting a lap time there as he comes towards the line for the AlphaTauri. Take a lap in towards turn 1 then with the Italian man into turn 1. Very, very nicely taken on the curb and riding it once again on the exit. Yellow flags just in front of him in Sector 1. Who is that is the question. Might be someone going a little bit slow. So our championship leader Ismail Fassi retires from the session. So does Chanakinchi and so does Christoph Seller. A few issues going on there. A little bit of a spin on the right of the exit there for Jacobo Grillo. Gets the job done though. Into the left-hander once again, turn 4, into turn 5, fourth gear action, getting very, very tight to the wall, almost kissing it, if you like, just a little bit of a snitch on the right, into the left, hop on towards the right. Once again, you can gain so much time here if you get it absolutely down to the nail. Sector 2 coming up there and into the castle section, braking just before the 50, cutting that curb as much as you can, and into the castle section, down 1 gear, keeping that momentum very, very high, really tight towards the line on the left-hand side, and then flicking it towards the right, in towards the back straight, and into the Sector 2 section. Zomadesha Mena retires from the session. He is out of qualifying in P19. And as you can see there, I think there's someone out of the race once again,
Balati.
as you saw. Yeah, Balati also out as well. Lillian leaves the session, so hopefully he can try and get back in as well. We're going to stay on board with Jacobo Grillo, who's 7/10 up in Sector 2. He's going to have to find something in Sector 3. It's extremely hard to find something. No corners whatsoever. It's fully flat out towards the line. 20% left of ERS on that AlphaTauri. The checker flag is now out in this session. What's it going to be for Jacobo Grillo as he comes towards the line? It's looking good into P8 with a 39.228. does, getting through into Q2 then. Gregory Ratti, as we've just said, I think he's out of qualifying. Yes, he is. Nani Perez, what can he do? He's going slowly as well, I think. So that, I believe, is going to finish qualifying here at Baku. Javier Fernandez out of qualifying. The two Hasses out of qualifying with Oscar Villacampa in P17. Gregory Ratti going slowly as well on 18th. Ben Sabokonyi gets into the 138.9s. We got there eventually, and he sits himself on top of the podium in Q1. Nani Perez going slowly as well. Belatti out of qualifying in 18th. Manestra Mena is out of qualifying as well at 19th. Nani Perez looking slow, might be able to improve. He is finishing his attempt. Sorry about that. As he crosses the line now, going slow.
He had to avoid to take avoiding action on Oscar Villacampa, who was spun at the exit of the castle, so that might have cost him a bit of time. Fortunately, as a place in the second qualifying session.
Yep, Nani Perez there in P19, actually out of qualifying on my time on a 42.321. Or 320 actually. Not sure what's going on with that one there, but Jakub Rizetsu into P3, 39.076 for him. He was the last one to cross the line. As I say that, Isfan Puki coming up the rear. Very, very lucky to stay in the game. He was going very, very slowly. Made a mistake somewhere, but he slots in to P15 by about a tenth of a second. Topping the time sheets there is Ben Sabokonyi with that 38.924 with Ismail Fassi in P2 there. We'll get to the results as quickly as possible for you. Ben Sabokonyi, you can see that topping the time sheets right at the death and sneaking it away from Ismail Fassi by 77 thousandths of a second. Jakub Rizetsu is P3 for Williams. Yannick Schmidt is P4. Nelson Alves is 5th with Yannick Inchi in 6th. Tony Roche is 7th for Samuel Bean in 8th. Jan Haladej is 9th with Jacobo Grillo in P10. Christoph Seller is 11th with Lillian in 12th. Stefano Romazio is 10th with Slojek in 14th. Isfan Puki making it through in 15th. And Javier Fernandez, Oscar Villacampa, Gregory Belatti, Nani Perez and Modestia Mena all out of qualifying 1. So, moving on to qualifying 2 there. Not a bad start for Ben Sabokonyi. Not a bad start for the McLaren team as well. Looking pretty decent, the McLaren boys. But it's going to get tasty into qualifying 2. Might see a few slower times out there for the first few minutes. But once we get a track heated up a little bit more and the grip starts to improve, we should be getting those times flying in as we move into Q2 right now. And let's see what these drivers can bring. Who will be the first out in qualifying is the question, and who will be into Q3 and into the shootout.
Yeah, another 5 drivers will be dropping out at the end of this qualifying session. Quite curious to see how it goes with quite a few reserves passing into this second qualifying session. So showing they're not here just to fill a spot. They want it. They want to do their best possible. And they might even want to win, of course. You always go to the race to win, of course. So it should be interesting. In the meantime, we have quite a few drivers already on track. Seems like most of them are already trying to get their first attempt with some free air with the Williams of. I think it's Christoph Seller being the first one. No, it's not. Yeah, I said Williams and then I go for Alpine. Thanks, Codemaster, for putting so similar colors on the game. So, of course, this would be Jakub. On the first one with Jan Haladej just behind him.
Yep, Jacobo Grillo coming towards the Sector 2. Now a few drivers in front, I believe. Let's quickly get the track map up just to see where everyone is. That's going to be one of the Williams drivers just in front. First. And yeah, Jakub is the first one out. Let's flick on over to him. Where is he? He's currently in P8. There we go. So Jacobo Grillo will be the first one in qualifying 2 to set the first time out there. Let's see what he can do on his first attempt. Look at the tyres up for you. Everyone on the soft compound tyres so far. As we can see, Jakub Rizetsu coming towards the line now on the soft compound tyres in that Williams car. Straight down towards the back straight, full flat to the, foot to the floor. Once again, DRS wide open for the number 40 and into turn 1 then. Here we go then. Yap of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix with Jakub Rozetsu into turn 1, taking it nice and cautious, taking into the left-hander and into turn number 2, braking hard for a second left and into the back straight there. A lot of overtaking opportunities can happen. Down into turn 3, can win and lose a race on the last lap here. We've seen it quite a few times in the past and in real life as well. Into turn number 3 then, another left-hander. Our first right coming up is turn 4, braking once again very, very late, flicking the car, very, very close to the barriers as well. Run aboard with the T-cam with Mr. Rozetsu, flying towards the left and in towards the right. Turn 5, 6 and 7 into turn 8 and then the castle section of 9, 10, 11 and 12. Braking very, very hard. A little bit of a lock-up on that front left, but it does get away with it. Very, very perfect indeed. A little bit of a tap on the brakes at the 50-meter board into the castle section, taking it nice and easy. Well, nice. I say nice and easy, nice and well for Jakub Rozetsu in towards the fast-flowing sector 2, hitting that curve very, very nicely. Hitting the second one once again, just narrowly avoiding it, kissing it, if you will. Hop on the left, a little bit of curb just to get the car moving in the left-hand side into the final braking zone. Very, very late once again, missing that curb, but using all of it on the exit. A beautiful lap there from Jakub Rozetsu, flying towards the left, in towards the right once again, and then is fully flat out for the rest of it. A little bit of a kink on the right and easily dealt with for Jakub Rozetsu across the line. He will come in the first Williams machine, 2 Mr. Williams into Q2 with Soljek in 13th, and across the line is a 39.977 for Jakub Rozetsu. Who's next across the line was that Jan Haladej. He peels into the pit lane as well, so he wasn't happy with his lap there. Samuel Bean into there.
He had the same exact time as Jakub at the end of the second sector, but then a bad exit out of the last braking zone, really, making him decide to go into the pit and try again with a fresh set of tires and more fuel.
Absolutely. So Lillian puts on pole so far, 39.524. That's the quickest time we've seen in Q2 so far. As you can tell, Ben Sabakonyi is second. Nelson Alves, 39.1 straight off the bat. Brilliant time there from the Portuguese man. Would have put you P3 in qualifying 1. So that is a really good, really good lap there from Mr. Alves there. And putting it on pole by about 0.4 of a second of a gap to Lillian there. So, could this be a top of the timing sheets lap already for Q2 with Nelson Alves? And Jacobo Grillo has, I think, had an incident somewhere. He is out of qualifying. Is that a crash? I believe. Yes, it is. We can see where Nelson Alves is. He's about to come to it right now. And he's lost the car there. And that is the stricken AlphaTauri. So, Jacobo Grillo, I think it might have been on his out lap or his in lap, or his in lap, has swept the car, and that is an end to his qualifying session of 40.3. Will definitely not get you through into Q3. Won't be seeing us in Q3 anyway. We might be even seeing with 9, but that will definitely not get you through anyway. But Jacobo Grillo, one of the favourites last time. Well, really good at China. One of my personal favourites. Well, one of my favourites for this one in Azerbaijan. Out of qualifying already.
Would make an interesting race for him, trying to recover some positions. Interesting to see if he will go into the main strategy or try something different to get some positions at the start. We have quite a few yellow flags still, but I think it's just people getting out of the way. Although I don't think we really have anyone in a hot lap at the moment. So first shot fired in this second qualifying session, and drivers without a time set, so interesting to see, and such experienced drivers on those 5. So interesting to see for sure. Jacopo for sure will be out of the second qualifying session. I don't think that these 5 guys will not be able to. I think they'll beat his time, as you mentioned. Curious to see Samuel Bean as well back into ORL and into Q2, but so far seems like he will have to really improve that time if he wants to go into the third qualifying session.
Absolutely. So we're currently riding on board with Mr. Romazio, who's gone purple in Sector 1 with a 34.8, if I do say so myself, in Sector 1. So he makes his way through Sector 2, currently P13. His teammate, Tony Roche, is P12 at the moment, yet to set a lap time on the board, and navigates the castle section very, very well, but a little bit too much on the exit, and that is his lap time gone. Unfortunately, that is Ramazio's lap time gone, invalidated. Tony Roche is starting his first final lap as well. Isfan Pookie navigating castle section as well at the moment. His teammates... Oh! That is a big, big one for Isfan Pookie, and really, really getting that horribly wrong, and very, very lucky not to end his day with a crash. And that was quite a hefty one in the barriers. Any front wing damage? Yes, complete front wing damage, and just turning in way too early, hitting the inside wall and smacking into the outside, and that is going to have to be a little bit of a calculation there for Isfan Pookie. That is not what he needed with 6 minutes to go.
Definitely, especially considering that he didn't put a time yet on the table, so a bit of a difficult mission for him. But he has shown us plenty of times that it's not how it starts, it's how it ends, and he will still have time for another attempt.
Absolutely.
And
So
Jakub getting plenty of a tow from Isfan Pookie, who tried to deny it, but still managed to get it. He's starting his lap, so it won't really make it will make a difference, but it's not so big because the start finishing line is really at the end of the straight.
Yep, as you can see there, Shanakinchi coming towards the line now, currently P14, yet to set a time as well. DRS wide open for the Turkish man. Where can he put an Alpine on the top step? Yes, he can, and that is the quickest we've seen all day. 38.821 for Mr. Akinci, and immediately Jan Haladej beats that by about 0.2 of a second. 38.650. We're getting really, really into the deep end of qualifying now, into 38.6s. We might see a 36, well, low 38 from this man here. Nelson Alves, who's about to cross the line. DRS wide open, I think. Is he going to keep this lap going? Yes, he is.
He's starting.
Yeah, just starting on an out lap. As Codemasters doesn't like to tell, doesn't like to say where anyone is on an out lap. Well, for me anyway. Don't know why that is. Yellow flag's just in front of him. That's his teammate Jan Haladej, just going a little bit slowly, taking everything very, very cautiously. He's just gone pole position with a 38.650. And we'll take this lap with Nelson Alves so far. One of the Alpha Tauris will just flick over to Aston Martin's. That's Samuel Bean, who's currently a second and a half up on his personal best, and puts it into the top three at 39.144. And once again, probably the low 39s is going to get you through into qualifying 3. So the top 5, I'm going to say, is pretty much safe for the moment, but we'll have to see how everything goes. Oh, I do apologise for that. Press the wrong button on my keyboard, so hopefully everything was all right with that. But we'll run aboard with Mr. Solchek in the Williams, just about to finish his lap time there. And I think he's going to peel into the pit lane. If he does, yes, he is. He's going to pull into one there. Ben Samuel, a few of the Ferraris coming through now. We'll stick on board with Nelson Alves, who has invalidated on his lap time and currently in P8. He's going to have to do a lot of thinking to try and get himself into that top 10. He's really going to have to put the power down if he wants it at all. Currently a 10th up on his time as well. It's going to be a good lap time into the 38s. But he's going to have about 4 minutes. He's got time to go in and try and get another one going. But he is definitely going to be running out of time. 3 minutes and 55 seconds left to go in this qualifying session. No one really on a flyer at the moment in time. Everyone in the pit lane are coming in for their in lap. But it is the calm before the storm, as we like to say in this time of Formula 1. Just getting near the crunch time of it starts to go a little bit quiet, and then everyone sees where everyone is at and see what you can do. Isfan Pookie and Stefano Romazio is still not set a time on the board so far in 14th and 15th. 3 minutes left to go in the session. They're really going to have to put the power down if they want to try and get something on the board. They need to beat Isfal Fassi's time of a 1 minute 40.010, which is currently the 10th fastest time. which is quite surprising, actually. We were quite into the 39s, 38s last time around near that time. So Ismail Fassi, who's currently on an outlap at the moment, is going to have to try beat that. His current, his nearest best at the moment is Yannick Schmidt in P9. He's about 3/10 quicker than the pair of them. We're going to stick on board with a few of the drivers right now, and the Red Bulls is just in front. This Yannick Schmidt in P9 is just going to come out, and he's going to be the first one to set the final laps in qualifying 2.
A few drivers already coming out for their last attempt. Obviously more pressure on Puki and Ramadio, who haven't yet put on a time on this second qualifying session, and obviously for the Zolkitek, Zelle, and I'd say even Fassi, Schmidt and Nelson Alves a bit under pressure. Alves might be safe because the gap is quite big between him and those behind him, below him, but still, you never know with the track improvements. And the times we saw, Nelson was taking 2/10 off on his last attempt before he invalidated at the exit of turn 12. So let's see if I'm pretty sure, yeah, he's already on track. He'll try to improve it. And we already have Yannick Schmidt on their last attempt.
Absolutely so. 9/10, yeah, as you said, from Nelson Alves in P8 to Ismail Fassi in P10. So a huge gap. But obviously, as you said, with track acclimatization and track improvement, he can get that times right down. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see Ismail Fassi improving by about a second, maybe even more, 1.5 seconds, which would put him on pole position at the moment. 1 minute 18 seconds left to go in qualifying 2. Everyone out on track at the moment, apart from Jacobo Grillo, who crashed earlier in the session. Ben Samuel Konyi, Jakob Rosetsu and Jan Halliday decide to stay in their boxes and retire for the session. They are safe at them. Well, they are pretty much safe with Jan Halliday top of the timing sheets. Jakob Rosetsu in P2, only about 1.5 tenths, well, less than 1.5 tenths slower than P1. Ben Samuel Konyi in P5 thinks he's safe as well. Lillian and Shanna Kinchi think they're not at the moment, or they just want to try and improve their lap times. They're currently on board with Yannick Schmidt in P9 for the ET8 team for Red Bull as well. Rounding towards the final couple of corners, and look at that, 1.1 seconds quicker alone in Sector 2. So the track is getting quicker and quicker. So Nelson Alves, Sonia Roche and Samuel Bean are really going to have to put their power down, because they've got 2, 3, 4 very quick drivers right behind them. 5 as well with Slowcheck, who can definitely do the business on a good day. We're on the ball with Yannick Schmidt, who puts it into the low 38s. A beautiful lap there from the Red Bull. 3/10 quicker than Jan Halliday, a 38.389. That is what he needed. That is more like it, what we're trying to see. Jan Kinchi as well, trying to go quicker. He's 1.5 tenths up in Sector 1. The checker flag is now out. We're going to see if we can see Chana Kinchi's lap all the way through. We'll have a look on the track map who is where, as Ismail Fassi puts it into P4. That's not Christoph Seller out of qualifying at the moment. Chana Kinchi goes purple in Sector 2, riding those curves and riding the walls as best as you can. So close to them as he come up towards the line. The DRS is open for Chana Kinchi. Where can he put that Alpine car? Can he break into the 37s? He can break into the low 38s, and a pole position time only by a couple of thousandths of a second. He is on pole at the moment. Lillian also on a lap. He's 2 tenths down at the moment. We're going to see Christoph Seller, who's just crossed the line. He is out of qualifying. Nelson Alves at the moment, he's out of qualifying, and someone's just put him down. That's Isfan Puki, who goes up to P8. We're riding on board with the Portugal man right now as he comes towards the line now. Currently in P11 on a 39.154. Someone else has just pipped somewhere. That's Stefano Ramazio, who goes up to P6. Samuel Bean up into P4. Nelson Alves up into P3. That is much better than for the Portuguese man, and makes it a second row lockout for McLaren at the moment. Goes about half the tenth quicker than his teammate of Jan Halliday in P4. And the last one to cross the line is Tony Roche, 1.5 tenths up at the moment. Needs a little bit, pretty much on the banger with Isfan Puki and Benzema Konyi, and just misses out by 1/100th of a second to Benzema Konyi's 38.946. Roche with a 38.956 and misses out by 1/100th of a second, and the Ferrari is out of qualifying. So unlucky, but that was a very, very good end to qualifying. We will get the results up for you now, but one of the favourites, Tony Roche, knocked out of qualifying, just could not get that lap in, well, that perfect lap in, and has resulted by getting knocked out by by 1/100th of a second. Shanak Inchi tops the Simon sheets with Yannick Schmidt 18 thousandths behind in P2. Nelson Alves is third with Jan Haladej in P4. Samuel Bean is fifth with Jakub Rozetsu in sixth. Ismail Fassi is seventh with Stefano Ramazio in eighth. Lillian is ninth and Ben Sabakoni is 10th. That is your qualifying three knockout with Tony Roche, Istvan Puki, Slowshek, Christoph Sella and Jacobo Grillo all out of qualifying two, and this could get in to a very, very tasty shootout for pole.
Quite interesting to see what we will get into this third qualifying session with both McLaren, both Red Bull in this pole position shootout, and then one Alpine, one Aston Martin, one Williams, one Mercedes, one Ferrari, and one Alfa Romeo. So quite interesting to see. Obviously, Bente finishing P10 at this qualifying session after getting the first position in the first qualifying session. So I'm assuming he will improve on that position once he gets onto the track during this qualifying session. While we see already quite a few cars getting into the track, namely Bente, and I'm not sure if it's Jan or Nelson. Maybe
We'll have to.
Yeah, Nelson.
We'll see. Yep. It is Nelson Alves out in qualifying first as well. So is Ben Sabo Kyoni. We'll get all the Delta up for you right now. But already through and already very eager to get their lap times in is Nelson Alves and Ben Sabakoni. Just for anyone watching, watching us tonight instead of the World Cup, England's just got scored, and it's 1-0 to Senegal. Your Jordan Henderson is the goal scorer there, so up the England's through into the quarterfinals so far. But Nelson Alves sticking to the F1. Nelson Alves currently in P5 with Ben Sabakoni just in front of him on track, and Yannick Schmidt in P8 as well for Red Bulls just come out of the pit lane as well. We'll stick on board with Ben Sabakoni as Nelson Alves likes us just get a little bit close to the Alfa Romeo. Hopefully that might change for his sake, otherwise he doesn't get any tripping up from the Alfa Romeo just in case. And you can see there just him warming up the tyres, trying to create that gap a little bit wider. As we can see there, Ben Sabakoni, 10 minutes left to go in the session. He with the first one to get the lap times going. As we can see there, round on the final couple of corners comes Ben Sabakoni, and across the line, he will come to start his first flying lap in qualifying 3, and where he will qualify in the race. As we can see there, his first attempt coming up now. Then here comes Ben Sabakoni coming towards the line now. DRS wide open for the Alfa Romeo, and across the line he will come to start his first iron lap in qualifying 3. In towards turn 1 he will go there. He'll take a lap with Ben Sabakoni into turn 1, then very, very late break in, flying towards the left, riding that curve on the outside, and in towards turn number 2, then braking heavily just after 100 into turn 2. Very nicely taken. DRS hits you in the face, a little bit of wheel spin on exit, but does get away with it. Down the back straight then, under the Rolex sign, and into a big braking zone to turn 3, braking just about at the 100-meter board, flying it into the left-hand, a little bit of a lockup once again, gets away with it, flicking towards the right, 50 meters, braking into 4th gear, riding those walls all the way as you can, and into turn number 5, 34.844 in sector 1. Hop on the left, hop on the right, a little bit wide on the exit, but gets away with it into the castle section and braking just on the 50-meter board, cutting that curb as much as you can into the castle section. Then Emirates board right in front of you, on the left, on the right, on the left, on the right once again, flying towards the left once again, onto the exit, in towards another back straight, coming in towards the sector 2 detection zone for Ben Sabakoni, riding all those squirrels as best as you can as you head into a big braking zone, about 50 meters, a little bit of a lock up on the left, gets away with it once again, and into the final couple of corners, and sector 2 detection zone right now, 1:14.866 is his time there. You can come towards the back straight with Ben Sabakoni Samokonyi. What will his lap time be? What will the first qualifying 3 lap will be? What will people have to try and beat? Here we go then. Ben Samokonyi across the line now. DRS will hit you in the face right now and in towards the back straight of a full flat out lap towards the line. Ben Samokonyi across the line, and it's a 38.768. Nelson Alves is just in front of him. What can he do? He goes up into P2 with a 39.337. He's lost a little bit of time somewhere in that lap. Who is next across the line? I think it is going to be Lillian, if I'm not too mistaken. No, it's not. It might be Yannick Schmidt, the 2 Red Bulls, getting through into Q3 once again across the line. He goes P2 with a 39.090. Stefano Ramazio as well, trying to navigate his way through. Chanakinchi also trying to navigate his way through. Lillian as well. Jan Haladesh sliding through turn 1. Tokyo drifting through turn 1. We'll stay on board with the other Red Bull of Lillian as well. That is him just going through.
He has already aborted his attempt. Had a bit of a moment in the first sector and decided to abort his attempt, just letting the cars by at the moment.
So he's decided to back out as well. We'll stick on board with Ramazio then, currently in P4 on track and about to cross the line right about now. Where can he put that Ferrari car into the top 3? He's the only Ferrari car on in Q3 so far. His teammate Tony Richet knocked out by by 100th of a second. Here we go then. Ramazio, where can he put that Ferrari? He's been so quick throughout this season across the line and goes into P4, 39.749. Only, well, quite a few way behind Nelson Alves by about 0.5 of a second. Chanakinchi will follow him through as well. He's coming towards the final couple of corners as well. Chanakinchi making his way towards the left, towards the right, really hugging those walls as much as you can. And across the line comes Chanakinchi. DRS wide open right about now. There it is. DRS button activated, staying towards the left-hand side, towards the walls, getting the shortest run as you can across the line. And it's pole position, 38.758, about 100th quicker than Ben Samokonyi at the moment. A brilliant attempt from Chan Akinci. Samuel Bean out there as well. Jakub Rozetsu also out there. Lillian as well. Ismail Fassi, the championship leader, is about to cross the line at the moment. He's been a little bit off in qualifying so far. Hasn't topped any of the timing sheets. Jan Haladesh puts it into P3 as well with a 38.7. Everyone on a 38.7. Ismail Fassi on a 38.5. Gets the job done this time in Q3 and sets the bar by about 0.2 of a second. Ismail Fassi on pole position for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix at the moment. Samuel Bean trying to improve. Jakub Rozetsu trying to improve as well. He's about to cross the line at the moment for the Williams team. And across the line is a 38.665 and gets himself on the front row of the grid. Samuel Bean is next across the line for the Aston Martin team as well. Here we go then with Samuel Bean, the Spaniard once again, in towards the left, in towards the right, in a full flat out stretch towards the line then. DRS will activate right about now. That is all everyone's lap times so far. Once Samuel Bean crosses the line, DRS wide open. Where's he going to put that stuff to Martin? He puts it into P3 with a 38.698, but the man at the moment to beat Ismail Fassi by just under, well, about 0.09 of a second to Jakub Rozetsu.
Oh, quite interesting to see. Not as close as I might think between our P1 and, well, P9 at the moment, since Lillian didn't actually get a time on this qualifying session yet. But I'm still predicting that the gap will close. Some mistakes on this first attempt, while the drivers knew that if they made a mistake, they'd still get another shot. So waiting to see how our last attempt, the all or nothing for our drivers will go. For now, everyone getting back to the pit lane, to the pit to swap for fresh set of softs for sure, and of course a full charge battery and a little bit of fuel, not too much, since they want to fly around this circuit.
Absolutely so. Ismail Fassi, the one to beat at the moment by 0.09 of a second. Samuel Bean about 0.125 slower as well. Chanakinchi just under 0.2. So is Ben Samokonyi. Jan Haladesh almost exactly 0.2 slower. Yannick Schmidt 0.5. Nelson Alves 0.7. With Ramazio about 1.1 seconds back, with Lillian not having a time on the board. 3 minutes and 35 seconds left to go in Q3, and we await for the calm before the storm, as we like to say it here in ORL, and we will see who will be on pole position for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Ismail Fassi currently leading the championship standings. If you are just joining us, here is what they look like. It is Ismail Fassi topping the timing sheets, well, topping the driver standings by 5 points to Danny Berezne in P2. Janakinci is third with Ben Somakonyi. P4, Leveche is fifth with Yannick Schmidt in P6. Isvan Puki is seventh. Jan Haladej is eighth. Christoph Seller is ninth. And Lilian de Brevcourt is P10. Constructors look like this. Alfa Romeo still with a comfortable lead, but with Ben Somakonyi P5 and I think it was Nadi Perez as well, getting knocked out of Q1 as well in 19th. It might be a better task for Mercedes in P2. Alpine a third, Red Bull a fourth, Ferrari a fifth, McLaren a sixth, Aston Martin a seventh, Williams a eighth, AlphaTauri a ninth, and Haas are P10. We are ready to go then for our second runs in Q3. It is Ben Somakonyi once again, the first one out. Ismail Fassi will load up the rear as well in second place. And Yannick Schmidt as well, leading the rear as well. Ben Somakonyi will be the first one out in Q3. We will see who has got the better hand and who will be on pole position for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix with 2 minutes to go.
Well, Lillian hasn't left and Jakub haven't left the pit yet. So leaving it to the last possible moment, I guess. Quite interesting. Well, Lillian is already on track, sorry. It's just the game that says that. And Jakub leaving now, so leaving it to the last possible moment, he'll have to speed up and hope that the guys ahead of him don't really go any slower, otherwise it will be a bit complicated for them. In the meantime, we had Lillian already missing turn 3, so probably testing the limits for his last attempt.
Absolutely so. Everyone out on track right now. No one's in the pit lane. Ben Somakonyi will start things off in qualifying 3. The Hungarian man in Alfa Romeo. The only man to get through into Q3 for Alfa Romeo, as his teammate was knocked out in Q1. Here we go then. Big braking zone into turn 1 for Ben Somakonyi. In towards the left-hander, taking it very, very wide on the exit to try and get the best run as you can. Braking hard for turn number 2. Flicking it towards the left, staying tight towards the wall on the right, hugging it very, very tightly. In towards the back straight then. A lot of overtaking opportunities can be done into this corner, into turn 3 then. Braking hard once again, flicking it towards the left, riding the walls on the right-hand side on the exit, and braking hard for turn number 5. Once again, hugging those walls as best as you can into the sector 1 detection zone right now. 34.868. He's 25 thousandths down at the moment. He needs to find something to try and get himself up that order. Currently, it will not be beating anyone. He's currently down in his time, but he needs about 3. He needs 2 tenths for pole position. He only needs a couple of tenths, about a tenth, to try and get himself on the front row. Here comes Ben Somakonyi navigating through sector 2 as the clouds start to rise and the sun starts to fall under Azerbaijan around this Baku city circuit. Looking a beautiful sight as always. Braking hard for the left-hander, keeping that wide, and it's touched the wall. He has hit the wall there, Ben Somakonyi. Checker flag is now out. No damage on that Alfa Romeo, but that's definitely cost him a little bit of time. Here comes Ben Somakonyi then, coming towards the line. Has he improved at all? Couldn't quite see his sector 2 delta, but he's going to find out into sector 3 and into the checker flag. Checker flag, as we just said, has just come out about 20 seconds ago. Here comes Ben Somakonyi. DRS flying towards the line at the moment. Comes the Alfa Romeo driver across the line. Pole position for Ben Somakonyi. The wall tap did not need to hinder him. He goes pole position by only a couple of tenths of a second. Ismail Fassi loading up the rear. Yannick Schmidt goes P3 with a 38.625. Ismail Fassi crosses the line now. Goes quicker by 2 tenths. 38.359. Ismail Fassi on pole position for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. One of the Alpines are just coming towards the line. I believe that is Janakinci right now. He goes quicker. 38.283. He's on pole position for Azerbaijan. One of the McLarens crossing the line now. That's Nelson Alves into P3 on debut. Here comes Jan Haladej as well, crossing the line. Pole position for Jan Haladej. They're getting quicker and quicker towards the line. Samuel Bean into P4 there, getting the job done on the second row. Jakub Brzezinski is closing in as well. well for the Williams team. Here he comes then across the line. Lillian is about to cross the line as well. Where can he put his car? He can only put it to P9. Ramazio is P10. Where can Rosetsu put his time? Across the line now for the Williams machine. He goes through and is not on pole position, but for the first time it's P7 for Rosetsu. But for the first time in a row, it's Jan Haladej on pole position at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. A great day for McLaren, first and fifth. Jan Akinci is P2. Ismail Fassi is P3. Samuel Bean is P4. Nelson Alves is fifth with Ben Sabakonyi in P6. Jakub Rosetsu is seventh. Yannick Schmidt is eighth. Lillian is ninth. And Stefano Ramazio is P10. And what an absolutely incredible end to qualifying there. Everyone improving, everyone going better. And it ended up with Jan Haladej topping the timing sheets on a 38.170.
It will be interesting to see both Spaniards ahead of the Portuguese. Should be an interesting and very fight at the beginning of the race. Cem Akinci in a good position to recover some points regarding Ismail Fassi. So it should be interesting to see if he decides to attack Jan Haladej or just follow in P2 and try to get the best at the end. Let's not forget that Cem is, if I'm not mistaken, P3, right? 9 points below Berejne, and with 14 points separating him from Ismail Fassi. So a win here could really help his championship aspirations.
Absolutely. So if you are just joining us, where have you been? You have just missed qualifying here, as we'll wind up the grid for you. There we go then. Jan Haladej is on pole position with Jan Akinci alongside on the front row. Ismail Fassi, the championship leader by 5 points, is in P3 with Samuel Bean in P4. Nelson Alves on debut is fifth. A very, really good qualifying for him and a really good day for McLaren as well. Ben Sabakonyi is sixth with Jakub Rosetsu in P7. Yannick Schmidt is P8. Lillian is P9 and Stefano Ramazio is P10. Tony Roche lines up 11th for this one. Pookie in P12. Slojek is 13th with Christoph Seller in 14th. Jacobo Grillo is 15th after a crash in Q2. Javier Fernandez is 16th with Oscar Villacampa in 17th. Gregory Belatti is 18th. Nadi Perez is 19th. And Modestro Mene at the back of the field in P20, and the only one starting on the soft compound tyres. We're about to get ready for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in about 20 seconds. Everyone either on the hard compound tyres on the mediums, 3 on the mediums, 4 on the mediums so far. And
Pole sitter swapping to mediums.
Absolutely. So we're about to get ready to go then. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights at Azerbaijan. They go out and we're racing once again in Baku. It was a good start from Jan Haladej. Already getting the jump there from Jan Akinci. Ismail Fassi going round the outside and already a crash at the start. Gregory Belatti out of this one and the safety car is out before we've gone into turn 1. Whoa. A load of penalties as well already all over. A lot of contacts happening. Gregory Belatti out at the first lap and there's a huge crash at the back. Tony Roche's been spun round. What on earth has happened at the start of this one? He's lost his front wing. And that is a chaotic start to this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Jan Haladej leads the way at the safety car. Jan Akinci is second. Ismail Fassi is third with a 5-second penalty. Samuel Bean is fourth. Nelson Alves is fifth. With Ben Sabakonyi is sixth. Jakub Rosetsu is seventh. It was a virtual actually, my apologies. We are getting ready once again. We're back underway. Jan Haladej leads the way by 1.5 seconds. What a start he's had from the lead. What a start indeed. He gets the job done already as we move over to the castle section. A chaotic start after this one. Belatti already out of this one by the start.
And that penalty for Ismail Fassi might complicate when he actually comes into the pit lane, because he will have to stop obviously when the race is on dries. You have to do a mandatory swap for another different compound. So this should make him lose quite a few positions. Let's see how the Spaniard responds to that unfortunate event.
Absolutely. So a chaotic start into turn 1. Gregory Belatti pretty much didn't even lead his grid slot and has hit the wall. I think he's lost either. That was
Ben
not sure what
side
happened
by
there.
side with Nelson, and he will go up to P5.
Yep, absolutely. So
fastest lap of the race, obviously, for Jan Haladej. to use those medium tires for the best of his ability, trying to gain some positions at the start, comparing to the drivers on the hards who will have a slower start, of course.
Absolutely so. Benson Bakonyi up into P5 already. Ismail Fassi couldn't get the job done on Chanakinchi down the back straight. Nelson Alves relegated to 6th. We can see Ismail Fassi right there trying to battle with Jan Akinci. He's got a 2.2 second gap to Jan Haladej, who's currently leading the way and is very, very comfortable right at the start. This could be Jan Haladej's day to try and get his first win in ORL. Jan Akinci lining up the rear. He could be his first win of the season as well. Anyone can really win this race off the start. Ismail Fassi, it's going to be very, very hard for him. So is Christoph Seller. He's currently 15th as well, who all got penalties at the start. Might have been unfairly from a few safety car sort of fanatics as Codemasters are very, very helpful to have, but we'll have to wait and see. They will have to serve them at the pit stops regardless, so we'll have to wait and see how that will play out. You're going to have a mountain to climb now to Ismail Fassi, and what he could do with now is trying to overtake Chanakinchi to try and get the gap closed down on Jan Haladej into the final couple of corners with to start lap 3 of 26. Ismail Fassi currently closing in on Chanakinchi in P2. Ismail Fassi, as we can see there, riding on board with the Mercedes driver now. Is he close enough to make any gains on the Alpine? He's in a slipstream as Yannick Schmidt gets past Jakub Rosetsu as well. He's closing in. Jan Haladej with another fastest lap, 42.132. Not close enough this time around is Ismail Fassi, but I'll tell you who is close is Ben Samukonyi switching it down the inside on Samuel Bean. A beautiful move from the Alfa Romeo, and he's up into P4. He's waiting no time to try and get through the field on the medium compound tyres and already into Ismail Fassi's DRS.
Of course, he was, again, you were commentating as Ismail versus Chen, and I was seeing Bence going side by side with Samuel. Of course, those medium tyres are making some magic happening at the start, with Jan already 3 seconds ahead, and then Bence gaining 2 positions since the start. 2 positions, so he was behind Nelson and past Nelson and Samuel. So interesting to see if he will be able to pass our championship leader in this lap or not, since he's quite closer to the guy ahead of him than the other 2 were when he passed him.
Absolutely. So Jan Haladej running away with this so far, 3.3 seconds clear of Chanakinchi as well, 3.2 closing in now, but Jan Haladej running away with this on the medium compound tyres so far, but could that change going into his second stint? And that is Ismail Fassi in the wall. Ismail Fassi making a huge mistake, and it's down to P7, the championship leader, currently down in P7. He's had a massive moment out of the exit. Is there damage to that Mercedes? No, there is not, but Ismail Fassi having a torrid time out there, and it's down into P7, currently battling with Jakub Rosetsu. And I'll tell you what, Rosetsu might be lining up for an overtake. He's into the DRS and the ERS if he wants it on the Mercedes. Is he close enough to maybe have a look down that inside? Probably not. He's going to have a look and look and look. It's not quite close enough this time around, but Ismail Fassi is extremely struggling here, and now Ben Samukonyi is on the podium, 1.7 seconds slower than Chanakinchi at the moment. Samuel Bean is all over the back of that Alfa Romeo at the moment, might be having a look down that inside. He's going to look and look and look. Is he close enough to make that move? No, he's not, and he's going to have to wait a little while longer, but Ismail Fassi having a torrid time out there so far.
Unfortunately, Ben lost a bit of time with the moment that the Mercedes had ahead of him, so complicating him and making him lose DRS into the. Jam has an opportunity to try to escape Bence, but then again, Bence, he is on the mediums. He knows he has to be able to close the gap if he wants to finish on a good position, because at the end of the race he will probably be on the slower tire.
Absolutely so. And Ben Samukonyi, as you said, Ben Samukonyi, Jan Haladej, Slowshek, Molesh Romano, who's gone from the back of the grid up into P13 on the soft compound tyres. Tony Roche and Nardi Perez, who all have pitted as well. 33 seconds back is Tony Roche on the mediums, so they're really going to have to try and they might be able to get them to the end. It's going to be a very tough order, but it might be possible. But fair enough for them to keep going in this race, whatever it may be. There still could be safety cars anywhere you look in this one. We've had our first safety car of the season if you like, with that virtual one just at the start. Yannick Schmidt, as we just interrupt there, Yannick Schmidt closing in on Nelson Alves for P5. He's in the DRS of Samuel Bean. Is he close enough, though, to try and make a move? He's going to set one up down the inside. Goes Yannick Schmidt, a bold move. A little bit of contact made, a slip and slide already. But Yannick Schmidt not afraid to put his elbows out and try and have a look for moves. But that was a very, very interesting move, which did not play out for Yannick Schmidt. He's going to have another go down the inside. It's going to be a little bit easier. Alves losing the DRS. There he goes then down the inside, and a little bit more easier for Yannick Schmidt there, and gets the job done up into P5. Ismael Fassi closing in on the young Portuguese as well. Not enough space to try and get the job done there, but Yannick Schmidt up into P5 is closing in on Samuel Bean in P4. He's closing in to Ben Sabakoni in P3, who's made some massive ground on Yannick Inchi in P2. 1.3 is the gap. Made about 5 tenths already by about 2-3 laps, which is really, really good for Sabakoni's efforts on the mediums. He's really going to have to put that power down already, closing in to the DRS. A few battles further down. Christoph Seller trying to have a look on Javier Fernandez as well, and Jacobo Grillo as well, looking on Christoph Seller as well. As yellow flags, and that is Nardi Perez retiring. Is that in the pits? Not quite sure.
No.
There's a safety car, and that is a crash. First safety car, first proper safety car of the season, and it's come out on lap 5 of 26. Now, Jan Halliday has a little bit of a predicament on his mind. 20 laps on the hards, or does he stay out a little bit longer? He's currently on the mediums. What would you do, Joanna?
Not trying to get it into my notes. Just give me 1 second.
He's come in.
Yeah, from lap 5. So that's probably what he was thinking when he started on the mediums. I don't think he was just trying to get away from the other drivers, but waiting for a full grid around these walls that it might provoke a safety car. So both him and Zoltisek, sorry, going from the mediums to hard until the end, as well as Modesamen and what's the other driver? They are just jumping around. Sorry about that. It's Buki, I believe. No, Buki is out on mediums, but mediums I don't think will go to the end.
20
so
laps.
Interesting.
Might be okay, but they will get very, very wrecked near the end. They're taking a little bit of a bet here. Isfan Pukki and Jakob Rosetsu, and also Javier Fernandez on the mediums. 3 laps under the safety car is what we're going to get. Is just pretty much what we're always going to get with F1 games. That's about the maximum we get. So that's going to be about 17 laps on the mediums. It's possible. It is probably going to be possible, but it's going to be very, very hard for them. They're really going to have to nurse those tyres right near the end. They're going to have to do some really hard gains on the first 2-3 laps, and then you're going to have to save all the way through at the moment. But Jan Halliday comes out in P10. Ben Sabakoni decided to pit with him as well in P11. Those were the only 2 in the top 5 on the mediums, so they pitted onto the hards. Now they have a free pit stop in mind. Gregory Belatti has left the session after his crash at the start, so unfortunate for him. Yannick Inchi, though, on all the top 9 are yet to make a pit stop. They're all on their same tyres, which is Yannick Inchi in P1, Samuel Bean in 2nd, Yannick Schmidt is 3rd, with Nelson Alves in P4. Ismael Fassi is 5th with a 5-second penalty at the start. Lillian is 6th, Ramazio is 7th, Christoph Seller is 8th, also with a 5-second penalty, with Jacobo Grillo in P9 as well, from 15th on the grid, making his positions up under the pit stops as well. We'll probably get maybe about two more laps under the safety car, and this should be another really interesting restart off the lights. We should be getting ready about lap 8, maybe lap 9, so we will get quite a chunk of racing still left to go, and Yannick Inchi will lead us away from the start, and with Samuel being in P2, and a little bit of incidents happening there. I think that's Oscar Villacampa making a move for it on the softs, and decides he doesn't want to be on this tyre, and goes on to the hard compound tyre, so he's the second one to pit as well. Tony Roche probably will be happy that he didn't end his race so early. He's in P18 at the moment, and still will be getting back up to the grid as well, and still has got a massive chance to try and get something out of this race.
To be honest, I just think that Oscar thought I'm going to be near the end of the grid, so I'll go on softs for one lap just to make sure that I have the fresher mediums and the best possibility of getting to the end with them. Regarding those, that's the change to mediums as well. Fair game to him, seems like a decent strategy. To be honest, I think the safety car will be either this lap or the next one in. I don't think it will wait till lap 9. So interesting to see how the restart will go. We have who was the third driver that also had a 5-second penalty? Do you recall?
I think it was Javier Fernandez, but he's obviously come into the pits and taken that 5-second penalty, and he's down in P16, so didn't really make many overtake. Well, didn't really gain anything anyway, so it's not too bad for him. So now only 2 drivers on the 5 seconds, which is Ismail Fassi and Christoph Seller. Might be able to get those removed, but obviously with the pit stops, they will have to take them anyway. So they're gonna have to really put their power down, try and get a gap, and do it all again. Hopefully they don't go into the bottom 9. Safety car is in this. That will get ready a lap earlier than I thought, into lap number 8. And Shanna Kinchi, who will lead us away. Samuel Bean in P2 will get green flags waved in a few moments' time. Shanna Kinchi will decide when the pack goes and when the pack will stay. Yellow flag still out in Shanna Kinchi. When will he decide to go? The party starts with the weaving, and the mind games start to come. Samuel Bean waiting in the distance to try and see when Shanna Kinchi will start to get going. He's a little bit waiting, a little more weaving. And Shanna Kinchi, where's he going to go? Where's he going to go? Is he going to bolt away right about now? He's thinking about it. Still weaving, going to leave this very, very late. And almost caught Samuel Bean there. Did Shanna Kinchi, did not do it. And still waiting, still waiting. There he goes. Shanna Kinchi will lead us away. And Samuel Bean caught napping ever so slightly. And Nelson Alves has got a really, really good jump on Yannick Schmidt as well. But super defensive. Goes to Red Bull, but he's going to have a look down that inside. Goes the Portuguese man, but here comes this man Fassi around the outside. A Portuguese man, and already getting a little bit of a snap there. Lillian coming around the outside as well. Down the inside comes Nelson Alves, battling all the way with the Red Bulls and the Mercedes, and has lost 2 positions there. So unlucky, but Ismail Fassi having a great jump off the lights from 2 positions down, back up into P3 as one of the Ferraris there, Stefano Ramazio. Having a look, and there goes Nelson Alves. Has he been touched there? I wonder. I think he might have done by storming Stefano Ramazio there, down into 18th now is the youngster, and so unlucky. He was having a great start. Jan Hardej has had a brilliant one as well. Into P6 he goes, and Dak up into a good position, and Ramazio defending extremely hard there from Christoph Seller, swapping and changing as Ismail Pookie, trying to have a look side by side, almost going up towards the castle section. There's action everywhere you look. You can't poke your eye out of anything. Ismail Pookie, having a look down the inside of Jacobo Grillo. Side by side they go. So tight. And it's Pookie who gets the job done. Back up into P9 he goes on the medium compound tyres. Gets the job done. Akinci still leads with Samuel Bean in P2. Of 1 second back on the road is Ismail Fassi in P3. Yannick Schmidt is P4. Lillian is 5th. Jan Haladej, the leader and the pole sitter, is 6th. Ramazio is 7th. Seller is 8th. 9th is Pookie. And into the top 10 now is Ben Sawakoni. He's battling away with Jakob Rosetsu and Jacobo Grillo. This could get very, very tasty indeed. We'll try and see if we can get a gang angle almost 3 wide down the back straight. This is going to be very, very tight. Modestro Mena out of nowhere. What a move from the Alfa Romeo. Gets the double of them. Daniel Ricciardo style in 2018. Modestro Mena up into P10 with a beautiful move on the both of them. Mena up into the top 10.
Interesting to see that the McLaren stayed out, so he will not probably have any major damage. Just a few positions lost, and interesting to see as well that Jan Aladesh was losing a bit of time to the car ahead at the restart, but he manages to close to the 1 second gap, and more important, manages to get a 1 second behind him, so he will not be under attack from Christoph Seller.
Absolutely so. And we're already having a look is Fampuki, really having a look there on Ramazio, who's really defending as hard as he can into the castle section, and a fast left in towards the right then is Fampuki, looking the man on a mission here, obviously on the medium compound tires, much quicker, and there he goes then, already having a look down the inside of Ramazio, getting the job done, a little bit of a squeeze, but gets the job done. Up into P8 goes is Fampuki, and now up in front is Christoph Seller, 9 cents up the road, and can definitely try and get the job done here. Moving up further, Jan Haladej maybe can have a look on the Red Bull of Lillian in the DRS. We're going to move over to the Czech driver who's currently trying to battle with Lillian Debrevkort as we come down into the DRS. Might not even need it. Using the DRS all he can. He's not going to need the DRS because he's going to pull up to the left-hand side and way down the back straight before the checker flag. He's going to get the job done as we enter lap 10. DRS is open for the second time this race after the safety car, and Jan Haladej up into P5. And only 4 positions lower, 4 positions upwards is the win in sight, with Janik Inchi currently holding that position.
And Lillian right behind Jan Haladej, missing completely the turn 2. And I'm pretty sure he got damage on the right side of his front wing. And lost position to Christoph as well, of course.
Might have a look. Yes, I think there might be a little bit of damage to that Red Bull. Not sure what happened. He's going to let the Aston Martin go. And can't quite see any any visual damage on that Red Bull. But you might be able to feel that. And Lillian having a pretty torrid day once again in P8 at the moment. There's a few more battles starting to go for the final points in this one. Ben Sabakonyi, Medesha Mena, the two Alfa Romeos, and Ramazio, the Ferrari engines, really getting into hammer and tongs here alongside the Haas driver of Oscar Villacampa as well, who's really on the back of Ramazio there. You can see him on the front wing camera. Really good camera, and already having a look down that inside goes the Haas man on the Ferrari down the inside. Beautiful overtaking opportunity. Ramazio gets down that inside once again, and down is P13 up into P12 goes Oscar Villacampa, and is that Jacobo Grillo having a look down that inside and has got that completely wrong and has lost many positions.
Really his fault. It wasn't really his fault. The Ferrari ahead of him broke a little bit more than he was expecting, and was the normal braking point, and Jacopo having to take avoiding action and losing quite a few positions.
Absolutely so, and now under attack from Nelson Alves there, just in front as Medesha Mena gets up into P9. His pit window is open for the hards. There's a few people coming in. That is Nelson Alves, Stefano Ramazio, and Lillian as well come into the box. As you can probably tell, a few of the hard runners might be having a look to come in for their first scheduled stop, and their only scheduled stop in this race. Janik Inchi, Samuel Bean, as well as this Fampuki, gets up into P6 and dispatches of Christoph Seller in P7. So yeah, Janik Inchi, Samuel Bean, Isfel Fassi, Yannick Schmidt, and probably Christoph Seller as well. We're expecting their pit stops. Well, I would probably be expecting their pit stops in the next couple or few laps. Jacobo Grillo will probably be coming in as well. And we can see what will happen with that one. Janik Inchi currently leading the way, but only by a slender margin of 7 tenths of a second to Samuel Bean in P2. There comes the championship leader, Ismail Fassi, in P3, slowly getting caught up to Yannick Schmidt in P4. You can smell his second podium in sight in P4. Currently will be P3 on penalties, as well as Ismail Fassi with that 5 second, as we said. Maybe wanting a little bit more this time around. Here we go then. Samuel Bean closing up to Janik Inchi. It's been the closest he's been so far. He will have the benefit of the DRS as well. We get that beautiful camera shot of the helicopter just in front. More yellow flags. That's Lillian, who's had a spin as well from the pits, I believe. And that is not what he needs at all. But here comes Samuel Bean. Is he close enough? He has the DRS right now. Does he want to use any of his DRS? I don't think he is, as we come down the back straight into turn 1. And I don't think he's going to be close enough to try and make the moves. Everyone will be on the mediums after this one. And Yannick Schmidt stays put on Ismail Fassi as well. Jakub Rozetsu sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix into the 41s of 41.998 on the mediums. And we can probably see, I think that was Ismail Fassi or Samuel Bean's pit stop indicator coming on. He might be coming in this lap, unless he's going to leave it a few more to go onto the mediums as well.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that those guys ahead are trying to stay on track a bit more, trying to wait for more drivers to make their pit stop so they won't get out into so much traffic when they actually go for it, especially considering that Ismail Fossey and Christoph Zeller have penalties, they'll surely be one of the last, or two of the last drivers going for the pits.
Absolutely so. Chanakinchi still leading this one by a slender margin. This top four is really getting interesting right now, and this will probably go into the pit stops as well. Ismail Fassi with that penalty as well is going to lose quite a little bit in this one. Jan Haladej in P5. We'll have a look to see where everyone will come out. We'll have a look towards the leader. These guys will probably come out quite in a little bit of action, maybe down into the bottom 10 with this one. And Ismail Fassi maybe a little bit lower than he would expect as well. But here we go then, on to lap 12. Do they decide to visit the pit stops this time around, or are they going to leave it a little while longer? Samuel Bean 4/10 up on Chanakinchi at the moment. Does he decide to come into the pit lane? No, he doesn't. Samuel Bean, he doesn't either. Does Ismail Fassi? No, he doesn't. And Yannick Schmidt, he doesn't as well. And Samuel Bean wants his P1. You can see him on the slipstream down the inside. Goes the Aston Martin driver in towards the lead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And Chanakinchi back down into P2, and Samuel Bean now leads the Azerbaijan Grand Prix for the first time, but Chanakinchi will get the DRS back from the Aston Martin driver. Is he close enough to maybe have a look down that inside, or has Samuel Bean got enough of a gap? He's got enough of the gap, and Samuel Bean takes the lead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Quite interesting to see that Jan Haladej for now is keeping Istan Puki out of his DRS range. Let's see if he manages to keep the Aston Martin out of DRS, while the mediums are still the better tire of the two, both with 7 laps on those tires. Regarding the top 4, as I mentioned before, until from P9 and below, they'll make the pit stops. I don't predict they'll be stopping.
Yeah, we'll wait and see when they decide to stop. Ismail Fassi all over the back of Chanakinchi, who's really started to drop a little bit of pace since he lost that position to Samuel Bean. And I just wonder if he might come into the pit stops there, as Ismail Fassi has hit the wall. Has he lost any front wing damage? No, he hasn't, thankfully for him. A little bit of a love tap with the wall there. Yannick Schmidt really close to the back of him as well. This could be very interesting. We could see some overtakes heading into the pit lane as well. Here comes Yannick Schmidt all over the back of the championship leader Ismail Fassi, closing and closing in the DRS. They all decide to wait a little bit longer for their pit stops. Is Yannick Schmidt going to have a look down there inside? He's going to leave it late, and he's going to wait a little while longer, maybe down into turn 3. We're going to stay on board with the Red Bull driver on the Mercedes. Maestro Mena elevates up into P8, dispatches of Christoph Zeller, and it's Yannick Schmidt getting not the idealist of exits down into turn 2, and still remains in that P4 position. So does Ismail Fassi on Chanakinchi, and so does Chanakinchi on Samuel Bean, lap 14 of 26. I wonder if these guys might be waiting for the soft compound tyres, or maybe they will play it safe on the mediums, because they are leaving it quite late, and I wonder if they leave it a bit too late, they might try and strap on a set of the softs. We never know.
Well, they might try, but I don't think that's their main goal. As I mentioned before, they could go to the softs, I think, from lap 17, so around 9 laps on the soft compound, but still, it's not really the best tire in my opinion around here, so we'll see. If anyone decides to go for the softs, I'm sure we might see someone, but not as the major strategy.
Yeah, I've remembered from leagues gone past soft compound tyres around Azerbaijan, not the greatest of mixes in the world. And speaking of which, Chanakinchi currently losing a lot of time to Samuel Bean, and I just wonder, will they venture the pit lane this time around? We're going to watch on Samuel Bean in the distance. He comes in. Chanakinchi, does he come in as well? There goes Samuel Bean. He comes in. Chanakinchi comes in. Fassi decides to stay out. Yannick Schmidt comes in as well. So the top 3 runners all come into the pits. Yannick Haladej is elevated up into P2 there. In service comes Yannick Schmidt and gets away very nicely. Samuel Bean is in front as well. He gets put in front of the team, and everything has gone according to plan. Samuel Bean leads Chanakinchi and leads Yannick Schmidt out of the pit stops in 12th, 13th and 14th. So Ismail Fassi with that 5-second penalty and losing about 14 seconds, I think. We'll have a look how much they've lost in total. We can see that, about 16 seconds, 17 seconds in the pit lane. So he will probably, AC 1920, he probably come out, yeah, he will come out just behind Yannick Schmidt by a couple of seconds there. So Ismail Fassi not in the greatest of predicaments at all. And that is not going to help as well. A little bit of a snap with the wall as well. No front wing damage, thankfully. Jan Haladej, once again, will take the leads. It's looking likely of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, but Isfan Pukki is really behind the McLaren there. 5/10 on the medium compound tyres, looking very, very tasty for this one. Jan Haladej really low on the ERS. You can see there 20% compared to Isfan Pukki's 50% there. As you can see, into the final couple of corners, a little bit of a mistake from Isfan Pukki. As he gets towards the back straight, he will have the DRS benefited to him, but is he close enough to try anything? We ride on board now with Isfan Pukki. Does he decide to come into the pit lane this time around, or is he going to wait a little while longer? He's going to wait a little while longer, and maybe, as you said, Joanna, maybe this game plan for Ismail Fassi, stay out as long as you can and just see how long you can take it. We can try and see Ismail Fassi just trying to get that gap as best as he can. He's going to need that gap with that 5-second penalty in mind. We're just going to see how it's going to work out. Janik Hinchi and Samuel Bean swapping places for P12 and P11. There goes Yannick Schmidt as well, almost on the both of them side by side with Janik Hinchi. Not going to work this time around, and here comes Samuel Bean having a look on Yannick Schmidt as well. Not going to happen. Yannick Schmidt up into P13 and Samuel Bean losing 2 positions in 1.
It's always tricky to that turn 1 with all the toe and DRS that the guys get to use during the whole straight. Well, most of the straight. The toe, the whole straight, the DRS, most of the straight. So interesting to see if Isfan can get those mediums to work till the end. If he's going to attack Ian, I think he will have to do it quite soon before the mediums start to really get the worst tire here. In the meantime, we had Nelson pitting again because he lost his front wing, so we will see if the soft 16 till the end. A bit of a moment for Samuel Bean and losing a bit of contact with Yannick Schmidt and Jay McKinsey ahead of him. That might have cost him an opportunity to attack the Red Bull driver ahead of him this lap, but he's quite safe from behind with Ramazzo 12 seconds behind him.
Absolutely. Ismail Fassi heads to the pit lane. So Jan Haladej takes the lead once again of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And Ismail Fassi coming into the pits now. So does Isfan Pukki in front of him. Jakub Rozetsu stays out. He's going to wait 5 seconds in the pit lane. Does Ismail Fassi until they can change that tyre. There he goes. Onto the mediums goes Ismail Fassi, not risking the softs, and will come out in about maybe 15th place, 14th place, maybe. No, it will come out in 13th. Actually, will be in front of Stefano Ramazio as he's a little bit too far back. Lillian gets past him for P15, and out comes Ismail Fassi in a lonely P13. 3 seconds up the road is Isfan Pukki, and 6 seconds up the road there is the battling pair of Janik Hinchi, Yannick Schmidt and Samuel Bean. And Yannick Schmidt all over the back of Yannick Hinchi. We're going to stay on board with this battle for a little while longer. This is for position. No one else needs to make any pit stops, I don't believe. No, they don't. So this is going to be all out for this position unless another safety car hits very, very late. Jan Haladej is only about 10 laps away from his first maiden win in Oahu and his first win of the season. Jan Haladej closing in as well. Jan Haladej, as we just said. Yannick Schmidt, closing in on Janik Hinchi. This is for P9, a big moment there, though, out of the exit as they start to catch up. So a few more positions up in front of Sloshek in P8, Javier Fernandez in P7 as well. And up the road is Tony Roche in P6. So they are quite close. Yellow flags in Sector 2. Not sure who that is for. It does get away nice and easy, though. Into the left-hander comes Yannick Schmidt. Janik Hinchi will have the benefit of the DRS to try and defend from Yannick Schmidt. But in the meantime, he might want to have a go on Sloshek as well in the Williams. And just in front of him is Javier Fernandez as well. We're going to ride on board just on the TV cam with Janik Hinchi. The Crystal Seller gets in front. Tony Roche gets in front of Villacampa as well. And then towards turn 1 there. Does anything happen down that inside? Yannick Schmidt is having a look a little bit too far back. Once again is the Red Bull driver, and he's gonna have to try again. Another time. Here comes Chanakinchi though on the back of Slowshek. Really on the back now as Javier Fernandez having a little bit of a moment as well. Here comes Chanakinchi all over the back. Slowshek using all the arrest he can to try and get away from Yannick Schmidt. As Yannick Schmidt follow through, he's going to maybe have to. Not quite close enough. Once again, he's going to have to wait his turn. He's going to have a look down the inside. He's going to have to down the inside. Thank you very much, says Yannick Schmidt, and gets past Slowshek. Pretty much gave that position up. Knew it really wasn't his fight, and now all the way back on Chanakinchi is Yannick Schmidt, who's trying to get in front of Javier Fernandez, getting a little bit caught up on the Haas, and Yannick Schmidt all over the rear wing of Chanakinchi as they come into the castle section. No mistakes required, and once again, no mistakes in this higher tier of league racing. Through the left and through the right comes Yannick Schmidt, Javier Fernandez, and Chanakinchi. Here we go then. This is getting really tasty for the battle for P7. Yannick Schmidt all over the back of Chanakinchi. Will he have a look down that inside? He's going to have a look for the outside, but it's never going to work around that inside. He's going to have to wait for the back straight. Here we go then. This could be a 3-wide action going into turn 1. Into the last corner comes Yannick Schmidt, Chanakinchi, and Javier Fernandez. Akinchi getting on the curves a little bit all over the back of Javier Fernandez in that Haas, through the left and through the right. Yannick Schmidt in P9, Chanakinchi in P8, Javier Fernandez in P7. Are they going to go 3 wide? It's very close. We can see there running on board with Yannick Schmidt. There goes Javier Fernandez. There goes Yannick Schmidt into P8. There goes Chanakinchi in P7. Yannick Schmidt having a look down that inside. No, he's not. They're going to have to wait their turn, and now Yannick Schmidt really closing in on Chanakinchi. Now Chanakinchi 1.3 seconds back on Oscar Camper. This might be an easier task for Yannick Schmidt.
Quite interesting to see the fight between the two Alfa Romeos. Now BenQ passing Modesto, who in my opinion was a bit slower on the last lap, making BenQ lose a bit of time and allowing Tony Richet to join this group. So let's see if they work well together, considering that only BenQ can take home points for Alfa Romeo, and Modesto of course will always want to get his best. Interesting to see what the strategy will be, and if they manage to keep Tony Richet behind both of them, considering the huge tow into turn 1 and the possibility of doing a double overtake.
Absolutely so. It is still a possibility. Yannick Schmidt is still going to stay on board with this battle for P6, which is Oscar Camper versus Akinchi versus Schmidt. All the way through with Javier Fernandez just behind with Samuel Bean trying to get past the struggling Haas as well on those 13-lap-old mediums. As we said, it's a real struggle to get them towards the end, but he has tried something, but I don't think it has worked for the Hasses. They are quite slow just behind them, really causing time to Chanakinchi and Yannick Schmidt. This could be another 3-wide affair, as we've just seen Yannick Schmidt over the back of Chanakinchi over the back of Oscar Camper. It's so close between them, and like a caterpillar all the way through, slithering away. There goes Chanakinchi on the left-hand side. Yannick Schmidt trying for the left, trying for the right, just not enough, and goes for that left-hand side, easy as you like, on Oscar Camper. Is he close enough to make a move on Chanakinchi? No, he's not. He's going to have to wait a little while longer. Again, he's still just on that back of Chanakinchi, just not enough in the tank for Yannick Schmidt to get past the Turkish driver in P6 and P7. And obviously Jan Haladej having an absolutely fantastic race out there. 3 seconds leading to Jakub Zetsu in P2, Ben Samokonyi in P3, and his teammate Radesha Mena is 4th, Tony Richet is 5th. And the battle we're watching right now, Chanakinchi and yellow flags there. Is that Isvan Pukki? It has been. Yes, it is. He's hit the wall somewhere. And that is a 5-second penalty for Isvan Pukki with collision with Slowshek. So what has happened there? I'm not quite sure. But a little bit of a disagreement between Pukki and Slowshek, leaving no room. Is Pukki there? I'm not sure what has happened.
Couldn't catch it as well. But we already have Ismail Fassi up to P11. He has 6 points to try to gain.
Oh, Oscar Camper. And that is in the castle section. Safety car. I think that is a safety car, unless it's a vertical.
Yeah,
yes, it is.
It's a full safety car.
That is a full course safety car. That has opened the window so much. And that has really hurt Jan Hardish's chance of trying to win this race unless he can try and bolt away. Everyone will be on the soft compound tires now trying to pit after this one. This is the only liable opposition. We're going to have about 3 laps of racing all the way through until the finish. Jan Hardich, does he come to the pit stops? He has to come in on those 14-lap-old hards. He comes in for the softs. Jakub Rozetsu, does he come in as well as Modestra Mena and Tony Roche squabbling him over P4 there and P3. Jakub Rozetsu in the pit lane. Ben Sawakonyi in the pit lane. Modestra Mena, they might have to double stack here, and that is why he's going very slowly just to avoid the double stacking.
This is not the way you do it. This is not the way you do it.
Definitely
I can't
not.
agree with this.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting.
Holding the whole pack just to not be double stacked. This is not the way you do it.
Yeah, it is a little bit of an interesting one there from Modestra Mena. A little bit naughty.
Someone didn't go into the
I'm not sure that might have been Chanakinchi. He is.
Ismail Fassi and Yannick Schmidt. The late pit stop for the mediums compensating at the end.
Might be okay actually, as Janakinchi could not quite get past Ben Sabakonyi, but I'll tell you what, as Jan Hardej has gone for a set of the mediums as well, and Jakub Rozetsu is on hards. And Ben Sabakonyi is on the softs. Everyone's on the softs apart from Akinci, Schmidt, Fassi, Rozetsu, and Haladesh. And that is really interesting. So Ben Sabakonyi has a really good chance of getting the victory here and snatching it away from Jakub Rozetsu or Jan Hladej. This is going to get a very tasty last 5 laps. Do not go anywhere. This is going to be so interesting right until the end. Hladej on mediums, Jakub Rozetsu on hards, Ben Samokonyi on the softs, Akinci on mediums, Yannick Schmitz on mediums, and Fassi on mediums, who somehow clawed his way back into a pretty much a winning position if he wants it. With Tony Roche, the second driver, on the soft compound tyres in P7 all the way back down. Everyone else on the soft compound tyres, as Samuel Bean has been swallowed up in the pit stops and now is 2 positions behind Yannick Schmidt.
Interesting to see what this restart will bring us, and interesting to see if BenQ will be able to get rid, if you may say, of Jacob real quick, so he can still go for Jan Hladej. This decision from both of these top 2 and also from P4 to P6 just in my opinion proves that the soft tires around here are not that good, at least in these drivers' opinions. So interesting, because even if they had used them in qualifying, they'd be okay for 5 competitive laps or 4 competitive laps. So interesting to see how fast BenQ will be comparing to the guys behind him, because we cannot forget that Chanakinchi for sure will try to gain the position on BenQ at the restart. The more drives he can put between himself and Ismail Fassi, the more positions, the less gap he has to the leader of the championship. So at the moment, Ismail will still be the leader at the end of this race if these positions keep as they are. But let's see. Jan will have to push on these first laps, but on the other hand, this might leave him a bit vulnerable if he needs the ERS later on the last lap.
Absolutely, it is Lillian with the fastest lap, which is not going to count. He is in P11, so Ismail Fassi, if it stays like this, he will be leaving Azerbaijan with a 13-point advantage to Danny Berezne in P2, who's not here tonight. He might make a return next week, I believe, which is at the Canadian Grand Prix, if I'm not too mistaken. I have to read the calendar once again, but we should be going green this time around if we do wait, but I think we should be back in time to have Jacobo Grillo and Isvan Pukki and Nelson Alves, and I think next we should be...
It's
Belgium next week. My apologies, Belgium next week. So do stay tuned for us for that. That'll be round 5, which marks the halfway points of the season, which it usually does around Belgium. Starts the second half of the season quite well in real life after the summer break. But we'll move over to Azerbaijan at the moment. It's Jan Hladej who's holding on by a thread and is looking to try and become his first ever win in Oral. Pole position as well. And maybe having a look at the win. Is the safety car going to come in this lap or not? Are we going to have one more lap at it? Yes, it is. Safety car in this lap. So we're going to have 3 laps of full flat-out racing. Rosetsu is in second place on the hards, with Ben Samukonyi in P3 on the softs. Janek Kinchi is 4th. Yannick Schmidt is 5th. Ismail Fassi is 6th. All on the mediums, with Tony Roche from 7th. Samuel Bean in 8th. Javier Fernandez is 9th. Manesha Mena in 10th. Everyone else on the soft compound tyres. Jan Haladej is going to wait a long time down the back straight to make sure he doesn't get any slipstream from Jakub Rosetsu behind, to try and get the best opportunity he can on the mediums. Is probably a good idea, as the softs aren't very good around Baku, but for 3 laps it might be worth it for the likes of Ben Samukonyi to try and get his first win of the season. Jan Haladej will leave them away. Jakub Rosetsu is just about close enough to win. Jan Haladej gets this going. We're green once again for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Place your bets. Here we go. Ben Samukonyi in P3, already trying to get the gap on Jakub Rosetsu in P2. Lap 23 of 26. We'll have DRS on the last lap of this one. Already Ismail Fassi round the outside of Yannick Schmidt as they all battle side by side. They've kept it clean to the start. There's a McLaren getting spun. That's Nelson House as Ismail Fassi round the outside. He's been tapped. There's a tap there.
Yannick and Ismail.
Absolutely, they go 3 wide down the back straight, maybe even 5 wide down the back straight. As Ismail Fassi down to P7, Javier Fernandez is 6th. It's all over the place as Javier Fernandez round the outside of Ismail Fassi. They've been tapped all the way through. Fassi having a look down the inside with Roche around the outside. They're all so close, all over each other, giving it everything in these championship rivals. Down the inside goes Roche, up towards the inside, and Ismail Fassi down into P8 with a little bit of contacts from Yannick Schmidt up behind, but Jan Haladej a 1.2 second gap on Jakub Rosetsu at the moment. Ben Samukonyi a 7th gap on Jakub Rosetsu. Jan Kinchi is almost a second back on Ben Samukonyi. Samuel Bean up into 5th. This is getting chaotic at the start, but with 3 laps to go, Jan Haladej is still not holding on, and has got his win in his dreams and has got him in his back pocket. This could be the one for Jan Haladej.
It's the second safety car restart, and the second time I see the same thing. The guy behind gets a better restart than the guy ahead, but knows that if he keeps on the throttle, he will pass them before the finish line. So in this case, I think it was not Yannick Schmidt, sorry, the guy fighting with Chema Kinsey and Yannick Schmidt, having to lift off the throttle and losing. Instead of gaining 1 position, he lost 1 position. The same happened to Nelson at the restart. In the meantime, we have Tony Roche gaining position on Javier Fernandez, and it's the Ferrari in the top 6. We also have Jan managing to open a 2-second gap to Jakub, which is essential. So Benche will, even if he passes Jakub, which is likely considering the gap between the two, he will not be in anywhere near the McLaren driver.
Absolutely so. Jan Haladej is 2 laps away from history. Jan Haladej 2 laps away from his first win in ORL. Christoph Seller is in 11th. He gets past Lillian for P11, but as we say that, Lillian is fighting back. Christoph Seller down the inside. Lillian round the outside. Is so tight there, but Lillian maybe have to back off. No, he doesn't. He almost hits the curb. They're still side by side. Seller versus Lillian for P11 with Yannick Schmidt in P7, and he gets just a little bit back as a little bit of contact. Once again, it's all over the place. Lillian slots his way through somehow into P11, and now is trying to catch up to Yannick Schmidt, his teammate up front in P10, and the soft tyres probably haven't worked for a lot of these guys. Not a lot of overtaking has been happening at the top, up the top half of the table. It's really been down the bottom, and it's not worked. It's not helped to try and get them up the table. Jan Haladej will start the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix. Lap 25 and 26. He has a 2-second gap on Jakub Rosetsu in P2. Ben Samukonyi can snatch this P2 away from Rosetsu. He's on the soft compound tyres. He might have a look down this back straight. Tony Roche gets past Samuel B for P5. Manesha Mena gets past Javier Fernandez for P7. DRS is enabled this lap for 2 laps only. Here we go then. Braking very hard is Ben Samukonyi. In towards turn 2 they come then. He will have another opportunity for the DRS. Into the left-hander they come. Sam and Sam Okonye getting a good exit. Rosetsu getting an equal one. They come down the back straight now. DRS wide open for Ben Sam Okonye. He pulls to the left-hand side. He goes down the inside. Thank you very much. Almost so tight between Rosetsu and Sam Okonye. Side by side once again, separated by a fingernail. Side by side once again. And it's Ben Sam Okonye who muscles his way through almost into P2. Gets the job done. Up into P2 goes the Hungarian Ben Sam Okonye, getting the points once again for Alfa Romeo and trying to kickstart his championship once again. Ben Sam Okonye up into P4 with 2 laps to go. Jakub Rosetsu is P3. Shanakinchi is P4 with Tony Roche in P5. Samuel Bean is 6th. Manestra Mena is in 7th. They're all separated by a pin, if you like. It's so tight up there with Jan Halidic now 3 seconds in front, and if nothing drastic happens near the last couple of laps, Jan Halidic will be a winner in ORL for the first time in his career and his first time this season. As we come towards the final couple of corners to start the last lap of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's been a chaotic one, it's been a hectic one, it's been a fantastic one from our standards, but what an absolutely astounding victory it's going to be for Jan Halidic. Pole position, almost led the whole laps as he pitted early under the safety car, but he's going to come towards the line now. It's going to be the last lap for Jan Halidic. He's got a 3-second gap towards everyone else. Tony Roche is closing in on Shanakinchi. Does he get the job done? Yes, he is. Up into P4 from 11th on the grid. Having a look on Jakub Rosetsu. This could be the podium for Tony Roche if he can get the job going. Tony Roche up into P4. Dispatches of Shanakinchi. Slow Shake has lost a load of positions as well. He's up into P12. Jakub Rosetsu is P3. Ben Sam Okonye is P4. The DRS not working into Rosetsu's favour. Yellow flags like Yakubu Grillo, who spun out of this one and into the back of the grid. An unfortunate end to his Grand Prix. He's down into P17. Jan Halidic still leading this one, but this is so tight up towards the top 2, battling for that second place on the podium. Into P3 is Jakub Rosetsu. Tony Roche is P4. He can smell a podium on his debut. Jan Halidic can smell a win under the horizon. He's only a couple of corners away. He's a sector away from a victory in ORL. Here we go then. Jakub Rosetsu's got one more chance to try and get up to Ben Sam Okonye, but it's not going to work unless he gets that back straight, which he probably will. It's coming towards the last couple of meters, which it usually does in Azerbaijan. It's been so amazing, this Grand Prix. Jan Halidic is in front in this one. It's been a great victory for him. It's going to be a win for Jan Halidic in his debut season. Jan Halidic from pole position up towards the win. He's been bound into 10th from the pit stops earlier on. Allo, he screams under the radio. It's Jan Halidic who comes towards the final corner. He's only got a meter to go, less than a meter to go. It's Jan Halidic for the first time in ORL. He wins the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Jan Halidic is a race winner in ORL. Ben Sam Okonye holds on to P3. Jakub Rosetsu is 3rd. Tony Roche is 4th. Samuel Bean gets 5th on the line by 100th of a second to Shanakinchi in P6. Manestra Mena is 7th. Ismail Fassi is 8th. Javier Fernandez is 9th. Yannick Schmidt rounds out the top 10. But your winner today for the first time in ORL is Jan Halidic. No one can take that away from him. Jan Halidic is your winner in Azerbaijan.
What a race from the Czech driver. He really was in complete control during this race. First opening the gap in the first few laps, then 2 safety cars that made him lose the advantage that he had, but still managed to gain the positions and go for P1. So well done to him, and congratulations on being a race winner here in ORL.
Absolutely, our 3rd race winner this season out of 4. Danny Beresnay winning Bahrain and Miami. Ismail Fassi winning at China. And now Jan Halidic wins in Azerbaijan in absolutely fantastic style. Jan Halidic gets the fastest lap as well. Pole position, the fastest lap, and the win for Jan Halidic by quite some way, by almost about 2 seconds. Ben Sam Okonye is back on the podium once again for Alfa Romeo in P2. Jakub Rosetsu is 3rd with Tony Roche. On debut from 11th is P4. He's got to be very happy about that one. Samuel Bean is 5th. Shanakinchi is P6. Manestra Mena is 7th. Ismail Fassi is 8th. Javier Fernandez is 9th. And Yannick Schmitz rounds out the top 10. Lillian is 11th. Sloshek is 12th. Isfan Puki is 13th. Christoph Seller is 14th. Nelson Alves is really disappointed with that 15th after qualifying P5. Really, hopefully we can see more of him. He can definitely get a little bit more luck on his side. Ramazio is 16th and Jacobo Grillo is 17th. We lost Oscar Villacampa, Nadi Perez and Gregory Belatti from that one. What an absolutely fantastic race we've been treated to for that one. Hopefully we can try and get a few interviews in if we can, but absolutely a fantastic race that was, Joanna. Let's just think about that. That was absolutely fantastic from start to finish.
Yeah, unfortunately for Nelson, he was spun in the first half of the race, so it complicated a bit, and then he did 4 pit stops, I believe. So 3 pit stops, but 4 different tires, so sets of tires. So a bit of a no day for Nelson. But really happy to see Jan on the first position. He really deserves. Good to see BenQ also on the podium. And Jakub, it's probably the guy I wasn't expecting to see on the podium, especially when I saw him going for the hard compound. But still, what an amazing end of the race and the race in general. Of course, this last safety car helped him a bit, but then again, the safety car was for everyone, so those who actually managed to gain the positions better were the ones who finished at the top. I think that just let me check real quick. Yeah, Chenakin, she still gained 4 points on Ismail Fassi, but not the amount of points he needed to close the gap. Quite nice to see Samuel being on the top 5 again. He hasn't been able to get this kind of results until now on this season, but he was one of our strongest competitors on the last season. So really happy to see the Spaniard doing the top 5, and of course Modesto being considered the driver of the day by the game since he started the dead last and ended up in P7.
Absolutely. So we are joined right now by Jakub Rosetsu, finished P3 in that one. Jakub, how do you think about that one? That was a pretty good race for you, finishing P3.
Hi everyone. So it's a pretty good result, considering it's my, I think, second appearance here. But obviously I wanted the second place. It was so close, but after all I didn't manage.
Yeah, absolutely. So you decided to go on the hards later on near the end of that one. Was that a mistake, or did you run out of tyres near the end?
No, that was on purpose, because I had used softs and I thought that they would just tear off quickly, and that wasn't the best option. Obviously I was on mediums, so I couldn't put on another set of medium tires, and yeah, then the hards, they were pretty good at that moment, because I pitted lap 5, I think it was the safety car. So I knew that the hard tires were okay, so yeah, I decided that I would hop on the hard tire and hopefully do something on the track, overtake Jan, but he was just too quick today, and I think he had fresh mediums, so that was just a fight for P2.
Absolutely. Well, going into Belgium, I think next week, you excited for that one of your favourites?
I don't think so, not in this game, but obviously I would just try to get another good result, because the season is quite good for me for now. Yeah, just really neutral. I don't like this track, I don't love this track, it's just neutral for me.
Absolutely. Well, we'll let you go. Congratulations on your podium. We'll see you next week, hopefully, once again on the podium.
Thank you very much. Hope to see you. Bye.
Well, we're going to move on to our race winner once again, Jan Haladej. You're a race winner in all around. That's going to be a very, very good feeling.
Yes, it is. I did everything I could today, pole position, race win, fastest lap. They couldn't have been better.
Absolutely. So, did you ever get nervous near the end? Obviously, the safety car came out pretty late on, and obviously, the nature of the back straight, anything can happen. But were you confident that you could try and stay in front?
Yeah, well, I was thinking about the safety car the whole hard stint, you know. I was just thinking about what should I pit, you know, when should I pit and stuff. I was planning to not pit if there wasn't any safety car, but you know, it's Baku, so there probably will be safety car, I thought. And there was. Unfortunately, I came P1 with fresh mediums, which honestly saved my race in the end. So yeah, I was anticipating the safety car, rightly so, and that probably won me the race.
Absolutely. Well, going into Belgium next week, you confident to try get yourself maybe another win or a podium once again?
I'm not expecting win or podium in Belgium. It's not my favorite track, you know. I love street tracks like Baku, Monaco, and stuff. So yeah, I proved this today, and yeah, maybe even in Belgium I will be good, but I don't think so.
Absolutely. Well, we'll let you go once again. Jan Haladej, congratulations. You are a race winner in ORL, pole position, fastest lap, and the race winner as well. Well done. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much, Joshua.
Thank you. Well, we're gonna wrap that one up right now. That was a really absolutely incredible race all the way through. Make sure stay tuned next week for the Belgian Grand Prix as we head into round 5 of the season. What an absolutely fantastic season we are having so far. Here we go for the constructors and drivers standings going into this one. It is Ismail Fassi who does just extend his championship position just a little bit by 3 points at the end of that one. 2 points actually did come through into P8 at the end, so there'll be a 7-point advantage with Danny Berezny in P2. Yannick Hinchey might be moving up a little bit as well, so is Ben Samuel-Cognier. This could all change, of course, near the end, and of course, Jan Haladej will be moving up the positions as well. This could all change near the end, but this has been an absolutely fantastic race all the way through. Thank you all very much for watching, and with the constructors as well from last round. Alfa Romeo will definitely be extending their advantage. A very poor day for Mercedes as well. Alpine, again, just having a little bit of an off one as well, with only, it was Yannick Schmidt getting into the points there barely as well. Red Bull with P4 as well. Jan Haladej, that's what I'm saying. Yannick Hinchey in P3, obviously getting the job. Well, P4, P5 near the end, got robbed right near the end. So a few points going to Alpine as well. They'll definitely be overtaking Mercedes. Ferrari with P4 for Tony Roche. Obviously with a reserve, he won't be scoring any points. So I don't think they'll maybe scoring any. McLaren definitely with a big boost up to 25 points with Jan Haladej. Aston Martin will be getting a few as well. Williams having a good day with Jakob as well. AlphaTauri having a poor day, and Haas getting one of their best results of the season. They'll be definitely going into Belgium as well. That is all the time, of course, we've had for today. Thank you all very much for watching. Make sure to tune in next week for the Belgian Grand Prix. I've been Joshua Davis. Thank you all very much for watching. We'll see you in Belgium next week. It's gone to Jan Haladej tonight, who will be next week. Goodbye.